Hey everyone, this is the Mind of Lilith, and thank you for joining me on my new channel, focused on relationship advice. So today I'm going to talk about a narcissistic tactic called love bombing. And I'm sure you guys have heard about love bombing by now, but I'm going to take this opportunity to just expound on it some more for the people who don't know what love bombing is. So you meet a guy or girl that you're attracted to, and you agree to go on a date with them to see how things go. And the first date is perfect, right? Your date understands you. They're very supportive, attentive. The conversation is great, and you can agree to continue to date them because you've had such a great time. Over the course of the next several months, your relationship goes from brand new to heavy and seriously committed. Your partner calls you every single day, every morning, afternoon, evening, in the middle of the daytime. They call to check on you, to tell you they miss you. They ask you how your day is going, etc. And, during this short period, they also give you gifts and compliments and attention. You guys go out every single day. The sex is great. And then they tell you you are the one and everything that they've wanted in a partner. So at this point, because they've been giving you so much attention and love and all this other stuff, you're kind of hooked onto them emotionally, mentally, and physically. And it's like you look forward to the next time they call you or text you or make plans to see you. Your dates are romantic, like they're a scene out of a movie, right? And your partner makes you feel like you're living in a fairy tale. It's amazing. But overnight, you go from doing everything right to not being able to do anything right at all. And you haven't changed anything about yourself. You haven't changed the way you treated them. So what happened? And this is what I think happened with Melody and Martel at the beginning of their relationship. Melody stated that when she first met Martel, he asked, to hang out with her. And then they started hanging out every single day, right? He was very attentive. He spent a lot of time with her. They went out a lot. And within 14 months, they were married. He proposed to her 9 months after he met her. So because of the quick progression of their relationship, I'm going to assume that Martel was love bombing Melody because he proposed to her 9 months after meeting her. And then Melody stated that they could not even celebrate their first year anniversary because he was talking to her like a dog, right? And they had been arguing throughout the relationship. I think even though Martel didn't have a lot of paper at the time, he was broke, he still was showering her with attention, affection, affirmation, support, all the things that narcissists use to love bomb their partner into programming them into ultimately accepting the disrespect that they have in store for them. So what is love bombing? Love bombing is when a narcissist gives their partner excessive and unwarranted amounts of compliments, time, money, attention, and energy to convince you that you are the one for them that they've been waiting for their entire life, especially after the age of 35. If a man says that, that is a red flag. Okay. Love bombing usually occurs at the beginning of a relationship or in the first few days or weeks after reconciliation. Because, in a narc relationship, there's always a back and forth, off and on, we're together, not together situation. So after you've reunited with the narcissist, they'll love bomb you again to convince you to go back to the same cycle. Okay. So what's the purpose of love bombing? Narcissists love bomb their partners for a couple of reasons. Love bombing is a way for the narcissist to hide their true identity, their intentions, their flaws, their sketchy past even, and they hide it behind false platitudes, future faking, great sex, trips, shopping sprees, romantic dinners, etc., so that you let your guard down long enough for them to train you like a dog, so that when they begin to devalue you, you are trained and traumatized to the point where they can make you do anything just to get the old them back, right? You want the old Martel back, or you want the old James back, or you want things to be the way that they used to be, but they were never that way in the first place because the narcissist never had any true intentions of treating you well loving you unconditionally, nurturing you. That was not their intention. Their intention was to ensnare you emotionally, psychologically, and physically into their energetic web so that you cannot distinguish you from them, right? So love bombing also makes the narcissist and their new project, which is you, emotionally, physically, and psychologically addicted to the relationship as if you're on a drug. The incessant calls, attention, and positive affirmations are used to train you to want them in your life. If you're familiar with classical conditioning and behaviorism, you'll see that the narcissists use many of these tactics to train you to expect them, to want to see them, to react in a certain way when they don't talk to you. This is all psychological and emotional manipulation. Narcissists are parasitic, and a parasite invades the body, attaches itself to an organ, and then uses the host to sustain itself at the expense of the host, right? Some parasites are like toxoplasmoses. They control the way you think, and they cause you to do things and act in a way that benefits them, the parasite. So, like a toxoplasmosis, the narcissist will use your emotions, your insecurities, and your deep desire to be validated to invade your auric field, your energy, in order to take over your mind and your body so that they can kill your spirit and use your brokenness as a source of food for them, because narcissists feel better when you are groveling, broken, sad, depressed, and desperate for them. That was the purpose of the training, to get you to the state where you cannot live without them. So if you can't live without them, then you are going to be a consistent source of narcissistic supply for them. It will be harder for you to remove yourself or take the tentacles out of your body because you are just trained and obsessed with this person because they've programmed you with all of the love bombing and the attention and the sex and the money that you want to hold on to, right? All of these behaviors are designed to get you hooked on the dopamine release that you experience as you're receiving these gifts and the sex and the positive words and the attention. It's like you feel good when you're around this person because initially they were telling you everything you wanted to hear. They were giving you things that nobody ever gave you. They were paying you attention. They made you feel valuable. And that, in some people, releases dopamine, which is kind of responsible for happy, good emotions. And you get addicted to that state. So you don't want to let that person go, no matter how bad they treat you, because you're always thinking about the way things were. So why do narcissists love bomb? Love bombing is used to disorient you. And the narcissist does this by taking all of your time and energy so that you don't have the capacity to mentally process what is going on and to question whether or not it's right for you. The narcissist tries to merge your energy with theirs so that you lose your sense of identity and can no longer separate yourself from them. So you're helpless, lost, confused, and scared to leave the relationship once the abuse inevitably starts because you have lost your ability to individuate. Individuation is basically a distinguishing your wants, needs, desires, thoughts, and identity from another person. So Martell used love bombing, in my opinion, to get Melody on the hook. They moved really fast in their relationship. They got married within 14 months, and within a year of their marriage, Martell was abusing her and did not stop until this day. And if you guys remember, Melody said, we had a good marriage. We were traveling, we were going out all the time. He was attentive, we was having sex, we would have walks in the park. But in between that, there's fighting and arguing like cats and dogs. And I'm assuming that the trips and walks in the park and romance and sex and all that stuff came after their bitter arguments, after he tried to disrespect her, after he talked shit to her, after she wanted to slap him in the face. Then he would come back and apologize and say, yo, my bad. I don't know what I was thinking. You know how men are. And then, they would have great sex again. She would get pregnant. It would be all good for a few months. And then Martell would go back to being an abusive person, right? That was constantly trying to put her down. But Melody was kind of hooked on to the cycle at that point. The cycle of fighting and then breaking up to make up and then the gifts and the trips and the fun times and working together, and then it's abuse again, then devaluation, then discard, and then it's back to hoovering, and then it's the love bombing. It's a cycle that is programs you to stay with somebody who really ain't shit. Okay, so what are some signs that you're being love bombed? And this is particularly applicable if your partner, or if your man or woman is like 35 years or older, but this definitely happens with younger narcs as well. So they call you and text you several times a day just to talk for hours at a time, if possible. They show up unexpectedly at your job, your house, or other places that you frequent without you even knowing. It's almost like low-key stalking, but you think it's romantic because they come with a gift, or they're like talking to you friendly as they're doing this, and it's a new relationship, so you are kind of happy to see them even though you didn't expect to do it. They give you expensive gifts sometimes if they have the money, and like fairy tale dates that feel like a movie scene. You're holding hands, walking in the park, just being romantic. They agree with everything you say. They compliment you excessively. They tell you that you are the perfect one for them and the one they've always been looking for. They also try to cuff you real quick by telling you that you're their woman or their man, right? And they're going to commit to you, or they're going to get married to you no matter what happens. And this is after a couple of days. Lots of sex whenever you meet, and that's not usually wrong or a bad thing, but at the same time, if I see you 3 times a week and we're having sex every single time I see you, that's also a way to train you. Okay. Again, having conversations or making future plans for a long-term commitment or marriage within a few days, having conversations about marriage before you're even in a real relationship, and towards the end of the love bombing, your partner will do a 180. And so by then you're so hooked on them, you will do almost anything for things to get back to the way they were. So you'll put up with being abused, gaslighted, triangulated, devalued, discarded, and then hoovered to start the love bombing again. Your emotional turmoil is fuel for them, and they only feel valuable or worthy when you're suffering because of them, because they feel like you're sacrificing yourself for them. As I mentioned before, narcissists are like emotional and spiritual parasites who need to see you suffering and enjoy you suffering because it makes them feel empowered. If you guys remember in the first season of Love and Marriage Huntsville, when Melody was crying about Martell and she would tell him to leave the house, he would have a smirk on his face. Some call it a duper's delight smirk, where the narcissist always smiles. They're never really serious until their feelings get hurt. So he would smirk at her all of the time when Melody would be crying to him. He would just be looking at her smirking and then saying something smart or downplaying her feelings altogether, gaslighting her. And he didn't get serious, right? The veins didn't start popping out of his neck until Melody made a move and removed her emotional, physical, sexual, psychological, and financial supply from Martell. Then he started to act right. Then he started to feel something, remorse or fear or anxiety or whatever, because Melody started to make him pay for the consequences of his actions, which narcissists hate to do. So how do you know that you're dating someone who is potentially going to love bomb you or be a narcissist? If the man has been married more than twice before the age of 40, if the man is never single, he's always between relationships or going back to exes, there's always some lingering loose ends that he never figures out how to tie up while he's dealing with you. So when he first meets you, he's by himself, he's single. But by the time the relationship progresses, all of a sudden, these past emotional entanglements and exes and people who used to sleep with, they pop up. And he's doing that to triangulate, right? So he's doing that to devalue and triangulate. So what's going to happen is after they've love bombed you, right, they'll start to bring up exes within a couple of weeks or months, or even after 6 months, they'll bring up exes to put you on alert. Like if you don't act right, there's somebody else waiting in the wings. Now you may not have done anything. You were just there doing what you usually do, but they start to say something like, oh, today one of my exes called, or I ran into one of my exes at the coffee shop, stuff like that. That is used to put you on alert, to make you anxious and nervous, and to make you feel like you're about to lose them. That's a game, okay? Whether it's true or not, it's whatever. They told you in the beginning of the relationship that they didn't have anybody else. They were single. Now, all of a sudden, 6 months, 3 months later, whatever, somebody else from the past pops up. This is someone they've probably been sleeping with the entire time, and they were on the discarding phase of that relationship when they met you. So basically, they were courting you while they were taking a break from another woman that they love bombed, devalued, discarded, and now they're on break. So now they're reeling you into being a part of the triangulation cycle, right? They love bombed you for a couple of weeks or months. Now they want to hoover over the ex because they're getting tired of you. They bring the ex back up to say, well, I saw them at a coffee shop, whatever. That's to put you on notice that they will be cheating on you. And then you start panicking, like, what can I do to get things back to the way they were? Blah, blah, blah. That's a game and manipulation. Okay, so you know you're being love bombed when all of a sudden your partner, they change overnight. Like they go from agreeing to everything, agreeing with everything that you say, to not agreeing with anything that you say at all and being irritated by the sound of your voice, right? They go from wanting to be with you passionately to like not being able to stand you or complaining about why are you calling me so much, blah, blah, blah. Or they go from texting you all the time to barely responding to your texts at all. And again, this has nothing to do with anything that you've changed. They've just changed. And then you're like trying to figure out what happened. You're blaming yourself. And then you're going to allow them to punish you for being so emotionally hooked to them. They will play games with you, like for real. They'll beg for you to come back, love bomb you again, and then within a couple of days or weeks, go back to the same old cycle, laughing at you the whole time. Like they'll see it as a joke. They'll smile. You'll see them smirking or smiling on their face as you're groveling and begging for them to forgive you for whatever you did or to try to make things work. Okay, this is a trap that they set up from the very beginning of the relationship. Almost like you're baiting your next prey. What does the bait want? Attention, love, affirmation, sex, money, a hug, calls, messages. They know what to do to program you into thinking that you are the only one for them ever and you're the best thing ever. And that's to pull the rug away from you so that you can now fight to get them back. And as you're fighting, they're getting the narcissistic supply. You fighting for them or over them, like what Martel tried to do with Melody and Ariane, that's their narcissistic supply. Martel admitted he enjoyed seeing the two women that he was weaponizing against each other. He enjoyed seeing them fight over him. That is a supply. So how do you fight back? Don't fight over them. As soon as they start acting stupid, they start switching things up. Not to say that you got to be, pampered and get all the attention in the world and spoiled. No. But at the same time, keep the same energy you had in the beginning of the relationship, right? Or the same level of respect and acknowledgement that you had in the beginning. Keep it all the way through or else I'm out. So when they start switching it up dramatically, don't fight for them. See what it is. Oh, you tried to bait me and reel me into this vicious cycle of I'm going to put you on a pedestal just to knock you down, to see you fight and grovel over me so I can feel better about myself because I'm lonely and insecure without you. That's how narcissists feel about themselves when they don't have a source of supply. Okay? So don't fight over them. If you don't fight over them, their ego will be bruised. Yes, you'll feel lonely and lost. Like, okay, this person was in my life. They were intertwined in my life for weeks and months. I called them every day. I spoke to them every day. We were going out every day. They're now a part of your life. You'll miss that initially, but the purpose is for you to get out as fast as possible. So as soon as you see the switch up, they stop answering text messages. They start to fade away. They start to argue with you for no reason. You know to dip out and do not fight for something that never existed in the first place, because love bombing is designed to create a fake entity, a fake relationship, a fake dream or ideal of who you think this person is, to program you to be caught up in their spider web. And what do spiders do? Spiders, they will sting you with poison. That's love bombing, right? They'll disorient you. You're stuck. You're paralyzed. Then they'll wrap you up and stick you to their web so that they can feed on you for as long as they want to. And you can't go nowhere and do nothing. You're just stuck being preyed on, sucked on. The life is being sucked out of you. And when they're done with you, they're going to throw your carcass on the ground and then act like you never existed. So peep love bombing for what it is. That's what Martel tried to do to Melody, okay? Oh, I forgot to mention, this is a huge red flag. If your man has 2 or more children by 2 or more women and he's not in a committed relationship with any of them, and those children are like a couple years old, they're not 15, 16, and 2 and 3. No, these are kids that he's had back to back, no more than 3 or 4 or 5 years separate, and he can't manage to be with these women. This is a red flag that you're dealing with a narcissist also, that just like Future has children with a bunch of women that he has long-term relationships with, but they're juggling women the entire time they're dating and getting other women pregnant. Alright guys, thank you for listening. Please subscribe to this channel and to my original channel, The Wounded Womb, Mind of Lilith. I look forward to reading your comments. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll speak to you soon.